Welcome to Real Appreciation, the podcast where we explore the people behind the projects and the gratitude that powers them. Today's guest is an actor, a magician, and a creator who has amassed nearly 6 million subscribers on YouTube. And most recently, he stars alongside Liam Neeson in Ice Road Vengeance, which is now on Amazon Prime Video and Apple TV to rent. Please welcome to the show, the one, the only Saksham Sharma.
Thank you so much for having me. That was a great intro. Couldn't be better.
You are a magician, a dancer, a content creator, and now you're literally starring opposite Liam Neeson in the new movie Ice Road Vengeance, which again is now available on Apple TV and Prime Video for rent. When you first started out, did you ever picture your life playing out like this?
Not really. I mean, I've always been a performer, so I've always had that passion to like perform and do magic. But then I think it was like a trajectory to just like, slowly got into magic. And then I was like, oh, I really love this. And magic is very similar to acting as well. And so then it slowly went towards, being in a movie with Liam. And so yeah, I didn't imagine it, but it's come true. So it's a pretty cool moment for me and my whole family.
So you've also built this huge following online with both magic, dance, and now acting. But since this is one of your first big movies, was there a moment on set, maybe it's even standing next to Liam Neeson, where you thought to yourself, wow, this is really happening. This is my life.
Yeah, I mean, sorry for my voice. It's a bit, it's pretty cold here in Australia, so it's a bit, yeah, crooked. But I remember when my first day of meeting Liam on set, he came in, and so the producer like, took me with him, and we have to work on a whole movie together. So, but I was like freaking out. I was like, damn, like this guy, like I've been watching him on screen for years. Like, there's never in the world I would imagine doing an action movie with him. That's just like bizarre. So the first day I actually met him, he looked at me. He obviously knew who I was because he'd seen me and they'd spoken about me. So he comes to me and then he's like, "Don't mess it up." And then he hugs me straight away. And so it was a really nice moment, and so that's how it started. And then he's very like playful on set. So he would always like joke around. Like my first shot with him, he was like, "Oh, have you read the actor's manual?" And I was like, What is this?" He's like, to some other actors, Grace, he was like, "Oh, like 3 minus 4," and I was like, "What does this even mean? Like, what are you talking about?" And I was like, what is the actor's manual? I was like, I've studied at Lee Strasberg and stuff, but I was like freaking out. What is the actor's manual? And then later I figured out there is no manual. He's just messing around. And then so I went to him the next day. I was like, "Oh yeah, I've read the actor's manual, yeah." And then he's like, "Well, it took me years to learn the actor's manual. You've read it in like a day, man." And I was like, so yeah, he's very playful, and yeah.
Amazing. Well, you've done magic and now acting and YouTube and all of it at such a really high level. Does one of those things feel more like home to you, or do you just love being in the thrill in the middle of all of it?
I think the thrill in the middle of all of it. Like, to be honest, when I'm even on set, I was doing magic to like the producers, to Liam, to Fan Bingbing, to the cinematographers. I was having a lot of fun doing magic, and magic is something that I don't know. It's so human. Like, it doesn't matter who you perform to. You could perform to a kid, or you could perform to Liam Neeson, and the reaction is the same. Like, to be honest, like when you see their reaction, you're like, wow. Like, it doesn't matter who on earth it is. It's a beautiful reaction. It's the most human way to connect with someone. Acting is obviously when I'm acting on set, it's hard to do the content creation stuff like YouTube. But I still like, balance it out. So when I'm off set, I would, put more work into it. So yeah.
Has there ever been a moment with a fan online or even in person that has really stuck with you? Something that reminded you why you started this?
This moment was really cool where I was even shooting in Ice Road. I was shooting a scene where we were shooting in Walla, which is in Melbourne, a very small, tiny town, right? And so there was lots of extras. It was a big, it was meant to be a big speech section near the end of the movie, which I do. And so there was a lot of extras, and there were a lot of Nepali Indian extras. So then they kind of came to me, and after that, they were like, "Oh, we watched you on Australia's Got Talent when you were 17." And I was like, wow, how did they even like know that? And they're like, oh, like the other kid was like, oh, I watch your magic videos online, and someone else was like, I've watched this, and there was like, it wasn't just one person, it was just so many people, and so they were like, oh, like they were really like proud of me achieving this movie, and like that was like, and when they really kind of spoke to me that they've seen my videos, past videos, they've seen my AGT act, and they've seen all of those, so it really kind of made me feel like, oh my God, like these people actually like they care. They've followed me for a while, and it's really humbling when you actually hear their stories and so yeah, I took photos with them and yeah, so it was a really nice moment there.
Well, speaking of Australia's Got Talent, I saw the video myself and how amazed the judges were by your talents when you were just 17. But how was that whole experience like for you?
It was scary to be honest. Like I was 17, I was very fresh. It was reality television, so it's not scripted, right? So everything is like in the moment. You don't know what's gonna happen. So it was scary, but my parents are very supportive. So we kind of built this act, and I was confident in the act. I was like, worst case scenario, like I know the act is really good, and it's so fresh, it's so unique, it's never been done before. So yeah, it worked really well. The judges actually like DM'd me on Instagram. They were like, "How did you do that?" Like, that was a great moment. I had like producers from the Americas Got Talent hit me up. They were like, "Oh, we'd love to get you on the show." And COVID literally happened like the year after, so I couldn't do that. But yeah,
What would you say is the simplest trick that gets the biggest reaction like every single time?
I think mind reading. Mind reading is always very powerful. Whenever I do mind reading with anyone, it's just, you know, like guessing someone's like crush's name or like, doing something like that. That's very powerful. Or levitation. Both of these things have a very, very powerful. So mind reading is very psychological, while levitation is very visual. So making an object levitate right in front of you is a very eye candy experience for an audience. So both of those things really, yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Hey, you're in this unique position right now, coming off a huge film like Ice Road Vengeance. Where do you see this all going next? More movies, more content, something new entirely?
So definitely more movies. I'm working on a few other things as well. So yeah, so fingers crossed on those. So definitely more movies, and definitely more, I think, live entertainment shows as well. So I love magic and I love acting, and I genuinely feel like in the industry, in Hollywood or even Bollywood, there isn't really an actor and a magician combination. Like we have Neil Patrick Harris. That's probably the only one that pops in my head, but I just haven't seen it. So I would love to kind of showcase that and really build on that.
At
Yeah.
the end of every podcast here on Real Appreciation, I like to take this time to express both gratitude and appreciation. So, with that being said, every morning when I wake up and before I go to bed, I say three things aloud that I'm grateful for. So, now I'd like to ask you, what are the three things you yourself are grateful for in your life right now?
I have a great family, a very supportive family. So that's number one. And number two would be that like I'm very grateful for having the opportunity to actually do what I love. That's very rare for a lot of people. So having that opportunity to work on my craft every day, to work on different projects and that's amazing. Third thing would be this is a hard one. Third one. I have amazing dogs, so they're quite. I'm very grateful to have beautiful dogs. So yeah.
Hey, before we head out of here, though, where can people find you online?
You can see me on Instagram at Saksham Magic or YouTube Saksham Magic. Pretty much if you search that word, Saksham and Magic, you'll find me everywhere. And yeah, I mean, there's gonna be more like cool magic stuff that I'll be doing in the future, more movies, and then there will also be magic and movies together, which is where I really want to create something fresh and unique. Yeah.
Hey, it has been such a pleasure having this conversation with you here today. I hope people were able to take something meaningful away from our conversation. And hey, please make sure to check out Ice Road Vengeance, now available for rent on Prime Video and Apple TV. Until the next episode, I'm David Claire Bennett. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week for the brand new episode of Real Appreciation. Thank you again, man. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, David.